So first things first, how are you?
Oh, fine, thanks. Nada, how are you?
I'm not too bad at all, not too bad at all. So before we get into the upcoming new album, I like to jump back to the beginning. For you, what was the catalyst that made you fall in love with heavy music? What was the thing that really got you into it?
Wow, a deep personal question. I like it. Okay. Well, I think I was around 14, 15, like anyone.
Yeah,
And I just was listening to everything that television and radio passed. But every time I was digging more the
sure.
version of what the pop and easy listening was about. And then I started moving more and more and more on the heavy side of the thing. Then, for no reason at all, a television in Italy um, passed an interview with Sepultura
Hmm.
for really no reason at all because it was during the day in cool time, and I said, "Wow, I like these people. I love these people." Then I started listening to that. I pretty understood anything of what I was listening to, but there was something, and then everything moved on, and here I am now.
What was it about that type of music that appealed to you? Was it kind of the emotion in it? Was it the energy in it? What was it that you thought, well, this is kind of what fits with me?
I think it. What clicked in my mind was that kind of voice, that it was a natural, a human,
Mm,
genderless voice in a period of my life when, like every male in the world, my voice was changing.
mm,
I was having my transformation in the voice, and I always liked to sing, but I had no control of my spoken or sung voice. Uh, and that kind of singing, it was something that just washed out every age-related problem with the male voice. So it was
sure.
easier for me to express what I had to do, what was impossible to do with the normal singing voice while you are 15, 16, 14, and from the day to another, your voice changes completely. So that
Mm.
was just, it was something that I could do it, and it was right, and I had no problem with my age. So I think that was made me pass from just falling in love to an actual marriage with extreme music. But
Right.
that's for me. That's for me now. It will be forever. It actually is.
But and the last thing about this early period, but I don't know. I believe the metal scene in Italy is quite healthy, and you're from Rome. So what were the options, so to say? Yeah, were there a lot of people who were into the same stuff as you? How did you find the right people to make music with?
Well, I started making music with my friend in school, and we were just, you know, some grown-out babies wanted to do black metal, and everything was perfect. But as soon as we stepped outside our comfort zone, we found out what was black metal in the Roman community,
Mm,
the metal community in Rome. So it was something hugely related with fascism, Nazism, already at the early stage. And it was something that we were not comfortable with,
mm,
uh, and still I am not, actually. I love the
sure.
music, but I don't love the political point of view of some of the fans of the kind of
Sure.
music. But back in the days, it was the majority of the people listening to that kind of music, which I loved and I love. So I had some struggles, but Rome is a very big, 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 big city. So if you dig enough, you can find people like you, or at least people you want to deal with. So I think it was a blessing for me to grow up as a boy, as a man, as a musician in such a big city.
Mm,
I'm not saying that we have a super healthy scene, since every scene everywhere is cursed with envy and
sure.
interests. But if you make the same question to any musician around the globe, it's going to say the same thing. But our scene, at least the Roman one, it was and is so big in terms of numbers that allows you to find the people you want to deal with. So I guess I've been and I am very lucky from this point of view.
That's very cool to hear that you find the right people, and then obviously, Hideous Divinity at some point becomes a big part of your life. Um,
Absolutely.
if we, I just want to very quickly, don't have to talk about it a lot, but Simulacrum was the first one with Century Media Records, which was a big step up, I
Mhm.
suppose. How do you see the music that you made before the albums before that? The three, I think,
Well,
the three albums before that.
actually, we changed a lot during the years and from album to album, but it's always been a current evolution of
Okay.
our music, a current evolution of us as musician and as a group of people. Well, when the project started, it was just Enrico Schettino, the guitarist, and it was living in Norway. So it was just
Mm,
a sort of solo project from him from Norway and other people helping him in Italy. And when he moved back to Italy, we started the band as a band, but from the first album to this very last, it's just the two of us from the original
okay.
lineup. So of course, people changes and the members of the band changes. So something has to change in the music as well. Otherwise, it would be just a copy paste of
Sure.
what you do. But I still love of our first albums. Obeisance Rising and Cobra Verde are something that we still love a lot.
Mm,
But I think that from Advenience, the last album with Unique Leader, passing through Simulacrum and then Unextinct is the golden age of the Hideous Divinity.
okay.
I'm still waiting for the Platinum age. I hope it will be
Maybe
there
with
at some point.
maybe with Unextinct, we never know. Um,
Yeah. I hope so. I hope so.
but what I find cool then is because Simulacrum, as I say, it's kind of you're now with Century Media Records. It's kind of like a step up. You have, I think, more resources to do what you want to do, and
Mhm.
then that whole cycle of that album is finished, and you have to start on another one. What was that feeling? Once the band kind of came together in the point and like, okay, we have to make a new album. What are we gonna do?
Well, it's gonna be. It's been strange because while we were promoting Simulacrum, COVID
Yeah.
exploded in the world. So we were touring US with Vader, Abysmal Down, and Vitriol, and
Mm,
we got a lot of strange news from Italy. In US and in Canada, everything was 100% normal. And we spoke to the phone with our family saying, oh, here everything is closed. There is a huge pest killing everybody. What the hell are you talking about? Here is everything normal. Then we
mm,
came back in Rome, and the city was desert. We were supposed to tour again after 3 weeks with Terrorizer, but everything shut down. So the promotional cycle of Simulacrum was interrupted strongly and rudely by
sure.
fate, by the reality that everything dealt with. So it was a strange feeling because we closed the promotional cycle and the
Mm,
production cycle of Simulacrum without closing it. It was just closed a matter of time. So we started working on a new album, still with a lot of feeling that we didn't do anything we had to for the last album. So Unextinct is our new album, is a new beginning, but it's still there's still a little part of my mind thinking of showing our fans what Simulacrum is. So we plan for the next shows that we're gonna have to still have part of the set dedicated to Simulacrum
Okay.
because still we need to prove it to the people that follow us. But of course, now is Unextinct. And as you asked, how do you approach to this new album? Surely it was different from what we've done before because
Sure.
we're getting older. We're getting older, and we're getting wiser and wiser. And at a certain point, you'll clearly see in the sign a big writing that says, "I don't give a fuck about everything." So you just do what the hell you want to do and when and how you want to do. We just have to be true to ourselves and true to the people that showed us respect during the years. And all the rest is it's secondary. I know everyone says this, but I am 44, so I am allowed to say this.
No, yeah, I think with age comes wisdom, hopefully. So that's good. But what I find interesting then is because how is your personal approach to the music? Because as a vocalist, are you always the one who comes in last and kind of the song is already finished and then you have to do your a bit, or how does that work?
Yeah, yes and no. I
Okay.
mean, of course, I am the last one coming in, but it's like the robot cartoon from Japan when the head is the very last putting on the assembling of the giant robot, but after the head, after the vocals comes in, there is the final transformation of the
Right.
machine. So usually Enrico Schettino, the guitarist, writes a well-finished song, and then
Okay.
he proposed us. Then we start working on it. I am the last one jumping in with vocal lines, but usually working on vocal lines, something change, something changes because
Sure.
when he brings us the music, we say, "Oh, maybe this, maybe that. We could be doing that." And when the vocals is on, a lot of time he says, "Oh, I like this part. Let's change the music of that other parts," and then we start working again on everything, and then it comes to the very final version of the song. So for me, it's comfortable because I start working on something that's well done. I feel safe on it. I say, okay, the song is working even if I fuck up everything. Worst case scenario, my voice is useless. I can only do better. And good. It's very easy for me to work when you have good music to work on. I don't have to save the day. But at the same time, you start putting new thing on the song and the song changes. And of course, it's a process that we developed in more than 10 years of working
Sure.
together. And it's nice, it's cool, and from my point of view, it allows me to express myself 100%. And I couldn't ask for anything more, actually.
Well, the way I see it, and I don't know, I'm not a singer, so I don't know, but it feels like the way you sing, it feels very cathartic, like it's like a release of sorts, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Uh, as I told you, I started growling when I was 15, 16,
Mm.
when you have the urge scream the word, things that they cannot understand. And guess why they can't understand? Uh, every artist, singer, musician, painter, has to produce art for those things that can't be said just in words. Otherwise, you'd, you'd speak it and you would
Sure.
be okay. So there are things that must be sung, and there are things that must be growled and screamed. That's why my approach to the growling and screaming is, as you said, I like to call it feral. It's like the growling of my inner beast that which is here. It's not, of course, 100% of me. As a day job, I am a doctor. I have a different approach to reality when I'm not on stage, when I'm not singing. But when I sing, that's me. And it's a part of me that is compressed for the whole day. So when it's released, it's released. And then I am okay again. So it's a sort of catharsis, yes, but it's also a celebration of the worst part of the human soul,
Well,
human
that's
spirit.
interesting.
So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I find that very interesting because that's what kind of what death metal kind of goes into the darker side of human behavior and all that stuff. So let's try it this way. Is there one song on the album that thematically you thought, oh, this is really interesting and this is where I can really let go?
I'd say every song, but probably is more than many.
Okay.
The many number one. While we were working on that song, I felt something. I felt something different, from all the songs of all our discography, and it's a song with which I have a strong connection, and it's the one with which I had the stronger emotional connection between all the more than 50 songs that we wrote and we recorded. I still have to metabolize that song. It's something that moved me in a different way, and not the way it turned out, the recording and everything. As you can see, I have no real ideas about that. When I start talking about that, I don't have clear ideas on that.
You're still too close to it, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe in a couple of months or in a year, you can kind of it falls into place.
Probably, but I guess that's why I'm so excited about that. It's still, turns me on when I think about that, and when I listen on that song, it's always a wow. I should not say these things about my music. You're not supposed to like your album, but Hideous Divinity, even if I was not in the band, the music is something that always excites me in a very crazy way. That's why when I joined the band 12 years ago now, my God, I was so excited because I said, we can do what I want to do.
Let me ask you this: how important? Because you mentioned your main job is you're a doctor, and you're doing other stuff in life as well. How important is it to have Hideous Divinity as an outlet to kind of balance your life in a way?
For me, it's not that hard because I am a doctor, but I am a phoniatrician. I am a doctor of voice, and my main field is artistic phoniatrics. So I work with singer, with actor, voice actors. So to be a singer, even to sometimes put a substitute in my office and just say my patient, sorry, I am on tour, they're not upset. They say, oh, my doctor is cool, which is true. I am cool. I am the coolest doctor in Italy. But it's not something against the other. My work as a voice doctor helps me as a singer,
Sure.
and the experience I gain touring helps me in treating my patients. The most of my patients are people having trouble from tour life, not mainly from singing, but with the problem of dealing with all the tour shit that everybody has
Sure.
to deal with, starting from the air conditioning in the nightliner, that what to eat, how to deal with the sleep time is something that can kill your voice, even if you are a perfect singer. So to experience again as a touring musician helps me to treat my patients with their problem. And the scientific experience I get with my day job helps me as a singer. In fact, I improved as a singer when I started doing this day job, which is the job I do because I love singing. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
okay, it's still the same entity. It's not a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay.
It's the same matters. It's quite good to deal with this two reality when are so strongly connected.
Sure. I have one. Well, I have two more questions. The first is what I really like about the band is that is the imagery and kind of the pictures that you paint, either with the music or just the. I mean, for this album, it's that shipwrecked kind of vibe. But I mean, you've always been very involved with making videos and kind of going all in for those. So what is it about the visual aspect of the band that you enjoy?
Well, that's always hard because we are very involved in the visual part of our production, but our skills are not as good as the musical one. We are
Sure.
musicians. We are not painters. We are not
Sure.
graphics. We are not video makers. So we have to rely on other people. And we've been lucky enough to build a good team. We have people that we rely on that usually are always the same person. We change a little bit, but almost everything we do in graphic for the graphic point of view passes for the very final step through the Manovakova, which has been taking care of our graphics and visual point of view from since the beginning, and we totally trust her. She's the one taking our pictures. If she said cut 1 year because it makes you look the best way for your band, I'm gonna cut my ear. And the Eclipse Studio for the making of the videos, or like the last video we did, it was done by Kinorama Studio, different studio, but then we had a co-production with Eclipse Studio to get the final Hideous Divinity imaginary, which is their imaginary. And the same with the recording studio. We did all our albums at 16 Cellar Studio with Stefano Morabito, but funny things to know, the 16 Cellar was the cellar of the Enrico Schettino family. In the beginning of the millennium, it was back in 2000, when Stefano Morabito started recording Hour of Penance, Enrico Schettino first band, in his cellar. And he started the studio in his cellar. So we are a sort of big family. And for the thing that we cannot do by ourselves. We have friends and people that we trust 100%. So it's a sort of big Italian family.
That's awesome.
Everyone working for the other, and that's good. Also with our management, Tito Vespasiani, for that over Rome, he started as our #1 fan, and we just saw this big guy at every concert we did. Then he started helping us, and then now we're working together. It's a nice fairy tale.
No, that's really cool to surround you with the right. I hear that it's so important to have the right people around you and the right energy and people who really
Absolutely.
enjoy what you do, and that's really awesome to hear. So the last question is Unextinct. What does that mean to you? Just you don't have to explain what the meaning was for the album per se, but just what that word makes you think.
Well, Unextinct is something there is not burned 100%. It's still burning. It's not dead, but it's not alive. Unextinct is the inspiration for this album is the Nosferatu, especially Nosferatu in the movie of Herzog.
Okay.
So forget the sexy vampire. We're dealing with the violent and black and sad and lonely nature of the things that are, and they're not supposed to be for human. This world is not for us. This world is hostile to us. There's something rotten, there's something dead, but still living underneath everything. And Unextinct talks about the relationship between the human being destined to fail against his violent and dead nature, fighting and making love with each other. So
the constant struggle.
Yes, it's an album about that, and of course, it's something deep. It's something strange and hard to be explained in words. That's why we did an album about that. Read the lyrics, listen to the music. That's what we feel about that. That's the Unextinct for us. And of course, we have always been in love with the imaginary of the Nosferatu, of the vampire in general. And we wanted to give our point of view, which is not the Gothic one, let's say. Okay? That's why we focus on the Nosferatu more on the Dracula, because with the centuries now, we can talk about centuries, the idea of Dracula turned out to be something cool, something, sexy. Don't get me wrong, Bram Stoker's Dracula is one of my favorite movies. It's not my favorite movie, but it was not fire we needed. We need a monster. We need the ugly monster you don't want to deal with. That's the Nosferatu that we are talking about.
All right. Enrico, may I thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this interview.